When you want to talk about special events on wrestling shows, you normally talk about Raw 1000, WCW Nitro, or WWE's 2008 Draft. But if there's one show that no one rarely remembers, it's WWE Superstars. Hey guys, it's me, Wreck Rider, and I thought I'll talk about a show no one rarely remembers, and that is Superstars. This show made its season premiere on April 16th, 2009, all the way up to 2016, which then the show retired. And I don't really blame them. The ratings were bad and were basically the jobber show. But at the beginning, they had a lot of star power. It was like big stars and mid carders. And I thought today I'll do one of my videos about this, since other wrestling YouTubers talk about historic episodes that happened in wrestling. Now, I also want to say I won't be doing as a full-time wrestling channel. I won't be doing wrestling full-time, since I want to do other projects like video games, movies, and even though I'm a huge wrestling fan, I'm pretty sure like 60% of my content will be wrestling. But every now and then I'll spice things up a bit. But without further ado, let's begin. Now the show has the WWE opening before moving on to the Superstars opening, which the opening is Invincible by, I hope I get this right, Audeotius Way, which is also one of the songs in the SVR 2010 soundtrack. The pyro comes and the theme plays, and when the glorious HD. They also hype up the main event and for tonight, which is Shane McMahon versus Cody Rhodes. Before I begin, I also want to say why I have the crappy quality for showing the videos, like the first presentation. It's because I do not have the WWE Network. How sad. But if I even had the WWE Network, they don't have the 2009 episode of Superstars for some weird reason. Alright, also want to say now the show is also hyping us to Backlash 2009, which will happen in 10 days. It also has the mixture of all three worlds, Raw, ECW, and SmackDown. One more thing, your opening commentary team is Tara Grisham and good old JR from Friday Night SmackDown to call the first match. So we kick off the show with Matt Hardy versus The Undertaker, which, to be honest, it's quite shocking we got this amount of star power on Superstars, because if this was 2015, we would have just seen Heath Slater versus Titus O'Neil. Undertaker by this point was just off that match, WrestleMania 25 match with HBK, which is a certified hood classic and it's a must-see for a wrestling fan. Matt Hardy by this point, he's into this feud with brother Nero, Jeff Hardy. They're ready to collide at Backlash and an I Quit match, just 10 days. Matt Hardy also won a stretcher match 6 nights ago on SmackDown, and even got drafted to Raw 3 nights ago. So, yeah. We saw this match with Matt Hardy honestly taking Matt to the corner, but Matt counters it with a drop kick. Matt attempts a clothesline with a rebound on the ropes, but Taker counters it into his own clothesline. Undertaker was signaling for a chokeslam, but Matt Hardy gets out of the ring. Then they both fight at ringside. And then Taker swings Matt into the barricade, and then the action goes back into the ring. Taker's being dominant to Matt by twisting his arm, getting old school and doing clotheslines. But the commentators have also said that Matt Hardy needs to dig deep if he wants to win this match. Get a huge upset over The Undertaker. We come back from a commercial break as Undertaker hits a leg drop on the apron to Matt, which looks brutal and painful. Then Undertaker does some strikes in the corner to Matt, and then he begins to choke him. The ref does his 5 count, which Taker lets go at 4. The Undertaker attempts to chokeslam again, but Matt Hardy counters it into a neck breaker. The commentary team points out that Taker did his iconic dive to HBK at WrestleMania 25, and he landed at the bottom of his freaking head, which is painful, and that's why Matt Hardy's attacking mostly the neck. Matt Hardy now attempts for a guillotine choke, which makes Taker start to pass out, but then he makes a comeback and hits him with snake eyes, big boot, and a leg drop. He then attempts to chokeslam for a 3rd time, but Matt Hardy is smart and rolls out of the ring. He attempts to bring a chair, but the ref tells him no. He eventually just gets himself counted out. As he attempts to leave the arena, his brother Jeff Hardy appears behind him, and they have a mini brawl until he gets back into the ring, which leads to get chokeslam to hell by the Undertaker, which closes out the first match. So overall, I'll give our 5 stars. I'll give this 2 3/4 out of 5. I would have given it 3 if they had a bit more time and ended with a pinfall submission, but it was still good. Hardy did look strong and smart by attacking mostly the neck. Overall, this was a good match. And on the build up to Backlash for Matt and Jeff, I still can't believe this was 12 years ago. Backstage, we can see Christian and Finlay and his kayfabe son Hornswoggle on a split screen, ready for the next match on Superstars. Then there was a WWE fact saying that WWE.com broke its all-time record for page views with an astonishing 105 million the day after Mania. We then see Matt Striker and Josh Matthews from Tuesday Night ECW to call the second match. But before they do, they show a replay package of WrestleMania 25, which looks beautiful. The next match we have is Christian versus Finlay in the ECW Elimination Chase match to challenge ECW World Champion Jack Swagger at Backlash. In other words, this was a Gold Rush tournament. So both Christian and Finlay entered the Money in the Bank ladder match at that year's WrestleMania and both failed. So now they're trying to win the Gold Rush tournament. It's a tournament to see who will win the World Championship at Backlash. Well, the number 1 contender spot. You get it. So they both make their entrances, and when Finlay comes out, he comes out with his kayfabe son, Hornswoggle. So the match begins when the Belfast Brawler puts Christian in the corner, but the ref breaks it up. Finlay then puts Christian left arm in a different hold and attempts to pinfalls, but fails. We have a stare down, and then Finlay attacks Christian in the corner. Christian jumps off the middle turnbuckle and attempts to roll Finlay up with no avail. Finlay hits Christian in the back with a knee, which Christian knocks down to the floor. Gets knocked down to the floor, people. Finlay then dominates for quite a while until his chin gets caught with a boot to the face. Then Christian, he starts to get momentum and does moves like a back body drop and a crossbody to Finlay, which gets counted to pin when we did a pin. But a kick out happened. Christian attempts the kill switch, but gets counted into the Celtic Cross, which then gets counted in the kill switch again and connects. Christian gets the 1, 2, 3. The match is over. Christian wins with the kill switch. I'll give this match 2 stars out of 5. And to be honest, I was quite disappointed. It was mainly because how much time they were given. 4 to 5 minutes. Really? Come on. They did the best they could with the amount of time they had, but if this is the finals of your tournament for the world title, at least make it longer. But both men, it is what it is. Both men shake hands, and Christian celebrates as he's on his way to Backlash to challenge the ECW World Champion Jack Swagger. Josh Matthews and Matt Striker hypes up the main event for tonight, which is Shane McMahon versus Cody Rhodes. After the commercial break, Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler from Monday Night Raw commentate for the main event. They also hype up next Monday night's main event, which is Triple H versus Randy Orton. Before the match, we can see a backstage interviewer, Eve Torres, interviews Shane McMahon. He says that he's annoyed that he doesn't get his hands on Orton, but he realizes that Randy Orton would have done many heel things without legacy, like kicking his father's head, kissing his sister in the lips, which also Triple H's wife. But he says he would tear legacy apart bit by bit, starting with Cody Rhodes. Now we move on to the main event: Cody versus Shane. To keep things fair, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, Triple H, and Batista have all been banned from ringside, which they'll be part Shane and Cody will be part of the 6-man tag team match at Backlash for the WWE Championship. Cody comes out with this theme for Legacy, which starts with "Yeah, I'm priceless." I didn't really like that theme. It didn't suit Cody. It sort of suited Ted since his father was $1 million man, but it didn't really suit Cody in my opinion. You should have got a separate theme. Luckily, they got the Legacy theme, which I really enjoyed. Come back from a commercial break is when Shane McMahon makes his entrance. We start off with Shane doing some strikes and some in the corner, Irish whips, and then hits him with a clothesline. Well, then starts to target the left arm and puts some holes on the left arm. But Cody goes to the ropes and heads outside the ring. Shane goes for a baseball slide, but he misses. But catches Cody when he tries to re-enter the ring. He bashes Cody's left shoulder on into the ringside post. Now, I will say he goes to the left arm for quite a lot, which is smart now. Just going to damage that left arm. But Cody escapes and takes another breather. Shane has had enough and leaps off the steel steps and hits Cody with a clothesline. He tries to go for the pin, but again gets a kick out from Cody. Then again, Cody gets another breather from ringside, and he attempts to Irish whip Shane into the ringside post. But Shane counters it, and Cody's midsection gets damaged on the barricade. I also want to say the match was going on. The commentators say that Triple H's title, the WWE Championship, can change by pinfall, submission, counter, or disqualification in the six-man tag team match at Backlash. Cody Rhodes finally gets momentum when he knocks Shane off the canvas and into the barricade. We come back from our final commercial break is when Cody dominates Shane, attacking the left arm and doing stuff like kicks and stomps to his back. He then puts Shane into a camel clutch and traps his left arm. Shane, however, fights back and he gets out, but he is weakened. Cody hits and connects a bulldog to Shane, but he kicks out at 2. He uses his knees on Shane, but again, another kick out. Cody tries to go for a superplex, but Shane holds onto the ropes and attempts an axe handle, but gets caught by a mid-air dropkick. A pinfall once again, but Shane kicks out at 2. At this point, Rhodes is just frustrated and attempts to get disqualified, but the referee, Mike Chioda, stops him, and Shane makes a mini comeback with strikes to the corner, but he gets tossed outside the ring. As Cody tries to get him back in the ring, he gets caught by a steel chair into his ribs by Shane McMahon. The ref calls for the bell, but Shane doesn't care and destroys Cody. He whacks him with a steel chair onto the head and gets a steel trash can onto the head. He then hits the coast to coast. Then Shane gets up and the show ends, cutting the black. Overall, I'll give the last match 3.5 stars out of 5. It was fun and the best match of the night, in my opinion. But annoying that it did end in DQ, but it does show the story, like Shane trying to keep his cool, but eventually snaps. In the end, to be honest, this show was quite lackluster. Like, sure, it had big names on it, like Undertaker, Shane McMahon, and Christian, but like big matches, with the big matches as well, like Matt Hardy versus Taker and Christian and Finlay, you expect a bit more from these veterans, after all. Especially Christian and Finlay, who were only given 4 to 5 minutes. And it's not really their fault, but I don't know what the WWE booking was to only give them 4 to 5 minutes. Overall, I'll give the season premiere of Superstars a 5.5 out of 10. The ratings for this season was a 0.9, which to be honest is quite disappointing with a show with that much star power. And it will stay the same. The ratings will actually stay the same for the majority of the show. But as the show went on, more stars like Y2J, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, and even John Cena wrestled a match as well. But as time went on, the show became filled with jobbers, which I guess was good because again, more TV time and something to do, but it did less for ratings, and it doesn't bring that much star power to the game. Well, that's all I've got time for you today. Please like, subscribe to watch more content, see when I post. I'm Rider, and I'm out.